Gods, Death, and Reapers is trying to slam together two of my favourite genres, Extraction and ARPG, and it's a game I'm keeping a close eye on. Closed Alpha 4 for Gods, Death, and Reapers is starting up on November 20th, so make sure you head over to Steam and sign up for a chance to join that and get in the playtest. Last month, we got to talk to Damien and Andrei from Wolcen. I will say that all footage shown during this chat is from Alpha 3.1. We were incredibly lucky and grateful to Andrei and Damien for showing this to us during the chat, as it's an incredibly early look at the game, which I hope you find as interesting as I did. Enjoy! You're making an ARPG and an extraction game, and those two genres go really well together in my mind. I'm surprised that we haven't seen that kind of thing before. And also you have ARPG experience with Wolcen, so it's like I'm very curious to just see your take on adding extraction to that genre and essentially what you believe are the things that are core to each of those two genres and how you blend them together.
Okay. How many hours do we have? Because we could spend a lot of time talking about that. Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. When I first pitched the game, which at this point is 2 years ago, I had the same kind of reflexes you just did, saying like, why isn't this a game already? Like, why doesn't it already exist? Because it seems to make sense.
Remember the original catchphrase that you came up with?
Which one? Because there were multiple, man, at this point.
The child one.
The what?
The child one. What if X and X had a child?
Yeah. It's basically what if Tarkov and Diablo had a child.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this all started from something very basic, which was the extraction loop of a game like Escape from Tarkov or Hunt Showdown. They are very, very complementary to the looting aspect in a top-down hack and slash. Obviously, like these two things go together very well. Actually, you could argue that looter shooters, which were born, I don't know, around the time when the original Borderlands came out, right, were an evolution. Like it was shooters bringing RPG elements into them.
Yeah.
So now,
100%.
to me, this feels full circle. Like it's us on the action RPG side bringing something that shooters invented for once, which is exciting. But it does come with some challenges. So you hit a very important point with what the core pillars are. And I've been saying from the beginning of the project, one of the key core aspects of an extraction game, and this I think escapes, and I think that's also why we've seen a lot of extraction games that don't do well. So from my perspective, a lot of people treat extraction as a sort of gimmick, the basic formula of the game. You have some maps, you go in the map and you fight, maybe you gather some stuff, whatever, and then you extract, and that's the end of it. Like from their perspective, I feel like I've seen games that do this and think that that's the formula, but it's not. It requires an economy ingredient in there. Without the economy behind the itemization in the game, you have not an extraction game. You just have a glorified dungeon crawler experience / maybe roguelike game. But what we need and what is a core to us, other than of course the combat needs to feel good, the itemization needs to be satisfying, everything that you gather needs to have value, and that keyword is value. So for us, one of the core pillars, which we haven't yet put into the game, by the way, and we want to test in a future closed alpha, not the next one because it's a big step, rather in the one before the next, after the next one. Is going to be like player trading. I think that's going to be crucial to making the game work, because otherwise, if you don't have value to the items attached to the items that you're extracting, then what's the point? Like if you can't bring something out and say like, oh my god, I made it out with this really cool thing, or if you don't lose something of significant value when you die, then the whole thing collapses on itself. It has no meaning. In my opinion.
To add a little bit on this, we approached each closed alpha with a specific goal that we set ourselves in terms of improving the game, adding content. And what Andrei says about the economy is super true. And we can't half-ass it, basically. We can't ship it halfway through because the economy, the way it's designed, it's either there or it's not. You can't have a half version of the economy. It needs to make sense, not in a vacuum, but with the full game behind it. That's the reason why we're not shipping it with the next closed alpha. It needs still a lot of work and design, but we're adding a lot of content with the next closed alpha as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think something that a lot of extraction games kind of miss is the fact that when you're designing it and you're trying to integrate these aspects of PvE and PvP, the PvE has to be interesting and has to draw players to it, because the intention is that the PvP is there, but you essentially need to make a decent PvE game underneath that layer, because you need players to want to go to these points of interest, want to actually have them engage with the enemies and the bosses that are there. Like you said, because of the economy, because of the loot being worth something. Because I think it's a case of you have an issue with extraction games where a lot of times the team focuses on making the PvP really great and making it so they're like, oh, the fights are really good and like the extraction mechanics are all there and like look at our extraction. And it's like, yeah, but people need a you need a
meaning.
Yeah, you need a game that is good enough that people essentially will enjoy it if they don't run into anyone in
absolutely.
that run, because they are worried that they might run into someone because of the stuff that they got.
Exactly. And I call that, I used to talk to people because they were having a hard time understanding what I was calling this, what was the word I used?
Tension?
Yeah, I mean, tension is the good one, but anxiety. Anxiety.
Yes.
I was saying anxiety has a role to play here, and anxiety can be positive. So the way I describe it is that when your anxiety kicks in, that feeling that you just described, it, oh my God, like I didn't meet anyone, but I could have, and I could have lost this cool item that I found, and everything would have gone to waste. That anxiety right there, I think, literally triggers something in our reptilian brain that makes us more focused, more engaged, and it makes us record literally the memory of what's happening better. And it creates kind of like a story of each individual match that you play, so you will remember much better. I have vivid memories of playing games, and it's kind of similar to D&D campaigns if you think about it. I have vivid memories of going into a match of Escape from Tarkov, for example, and knowing every single thing that happened in that match, specifically because I was super tense and anxious at the same time trying to get this unique key I found or whatever out.
Gives meaning to everything you get through your game sessions, basically.
Yes, 100%. I cut my teeth in online games in like EVE Online and stuff, and so one of the things that you're always trying to be taught in that game is never fly anything that you're not willing to lose. And that really helps with controlling that anxiety, because there are times when you loot something in Tarkov or you loot something in one of these games and you're like, oh my God, I got like a purple. And then you're like, okay, where's my nearest exit point? And then like the tension inside you builds and that anxiety and that tightness gets you. And then like you hear a firefight off in the distance and you're like, oh God. And so then you're trying to get to that point. And like you said, like that anxiety gives you that story. And unless you can control it, then you're going to panic, and then that makes for great moments as well. But if you do control it, you may actually have that realization of, what am I doing? This is just an item. Like if I die, then okay, I can just try and get this item again. But it's so wonderful how, if you have crafted it right, then that anxiety inside you just builds and creates this tightness as you're just kind of getting closer and closer to that extraction point. And even when you get there and you've got that timer ticking down of like 5, 4, 3, 2, like that tension still builds. Like even though you're like 5 seconds away from safety, it's the most anxious you're going to get.
But those are the longest 5 seconds of the game.
100%. Like the amount of times that, especially when you get some wonderful ones where it's at like 3, 2, and then you see someone else appear,
or you just hear something, or you thought you heard something,
and like, oh, the tension, then it's just I love it. I love it in Tarkov. I loved it in the Cycle. I loved it in Marauders. When you're trying to get out and someone's shooting your ship, that's just perfect. There was another game I think called like Dead Siege or Star Siege, and the ship is like falling apart around you as you're trying to extract. And that's quite interesting because your path gets cut off as part of the ship is essentially just falling apart tile by tile. And so you're like being funneled towards those extraction points, which I think is great.
Yeah. I mean, all of this is what we're trying to build towards, right? Because we started off doing closed alphas to test various things. So far, what we can say is we did the technical tests, and we're still doing them with each closed alpha. But at least we know we have a strong foundation there. Then, so far, we focused a lot on moment-to-moment gameplay and bringing systems into the game so we can expand and really. And now we're getting to the point where we want to hone in on exactly what we've been talking about, and that's what we're looking. But we think this requires economy. We need to put the economy into the game. We need to polish the itemization. The combat moment-to-moment gameplay needs to feel good. The game mode itself, so the way extraction works, the way AIs are distributed on the map, points of interest on the map, and all these things are all things that we need to polish up in order for this experience to come together. And that's exactly what we're building towards within the next two closed alphas, I would say. That's what we're preparing.
Can we, while you're like loading in and showing it off, can we talk about the setting? Because I'm very curious of where the incredibly metal name came from. Because when we were booking appointments for Gamescom and when you were still like back at that stage, it was Project Pantheon, like this super secretive sounding title. And then you came out with Gods, Death and Reapers, which is incredibly metal. But
that's why we made metal t-shirts.
Yeah,
I like
t-shirts,
it.
They're very like they sound like a garage metal band.
It definitely sounds like something you would make in like your later years in college or something with a couple of friends. Where did the name come from? Like, what does the name kind of mean in the setting of the universe? Like can you talk more about that side of things?
Yeah. I mean, the universe is so to start from the universe itself, and I'll try to be very brief about it. But we needed a place like that was apocalyptic in nature because of the scarcity of that kind of universe. So there were these elements. We wanted it to be fantasy. We wanted it to be apocalyptic in nature. So I started diving into mythologies because they were I was thinking like, okay, we could easily take a mythology, break it apart and have an apocalypse inside of that. Then it became really difficult to choose. So we went like, you know what, why not take them all and do like a sort of American God style or a Stargate style where you have all of the mishmash, combine them together with some principle that makes sense. So we did that. When it came to the name, this was very, very late that we actually chose the name. Project Pantheon was always intended to be a placeholder, like it's an internal code name for the project. And we announced it because we wanted to start doing technical tests and stuff on it, even though the brand wasn't ready. And ultimately, we had a lot of candidates. I remember we had like 40 names that we researched for the name of the game, a lot of which fell through because of legal reasons or otherwise. And this one was just... I think it was Bogdan who came up with it, because we had a long list of candidates. Bogdan came up with it, and I remember hearing it for the first time, and it was pretty much like, I mean, yeah, that's what the game is. You know, it's at its core, it's about gods that have died. God's Death was actually intended to be a sort of play on words because you can read it either as God's Death or God's Coma Death. It works either way. So yeah, it's about that, and death being this interconnecting tissue between the different mythologies that we have in the game and our players, which are Reapers.
Yeah, I always read it with a comma. By the way, I always read it as God's comma death.
That's the most used way of reading it. Yep.
Yeah. And that's how we will always put it in writing. But there's a small wink about God's death. as well.
Yeah. So Andrei is playing on Helheim, which is still work in progress, but that we do intend on shipping for CA4 for our
Okay.
next closed alpha. It's the new map.
Oh, you're not on the server with me? No,
No,
I'm
I'm not.
alone. I'm alone, I see. Now. Yeah, I'm even playing with some placeholder abilities, so...
Yeah. Do you have a staff with the new abilities? Because you have the blink on there. It's very cool. Yeah, the white one.
Should be here, no? No, this is the
It's
explosion.
right click, yeah.
I mean, you can see these abilities don't even have cooldowns right now. They're
Yeah.
freshly made. I think this one doesn't even have a lot of damage. So
Not yet, no, but we're working on it. We haven't started the full out balancing yet.
I prefer the new staff. Sorry, the new Warhammer abilities.
You do? Yeah, interesting. If there's a blink in game, I'll always use that. I don't know. It's my kind of my go-to. But I've been playing. I don't know if you've been playing Diablo 2, Dave. I've been playing Diablo 2 a lot, and there's a class that's called the Sorceress, which entire identity is the blink, basically. So whenever I can, I'll use a blink. Don't mind me.
I think it's really cool that you're merging these two genres, because it's one of those things where when you think about it, it makes total sense, and yet people haven't done it really before, and it's kind of that whole weird, like, why have they?
You know when we met at Gamescom and you told that to me, the first thing I did after we wrapped up everything and we went in town to grab a beer, I told Andrei and Bogdan, I've met him and he told me this, and it was so heartwarming because we're taking a gamble here. We're merging two niches. We know we have something in our hands that we can make beautiful, but it's still a gamble. And hearing this is like exactly what you want to hear and keeps you motivated to just keep on going, and knowing that there are people out there that are expecting exactly this. They're just waiting for the right game for it. So it was very heartwarming to hear you say that.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I will say I spend most of my day talking about the game all day, and it's exciting.
You're a game director. That's kind of
no, but it's exciting to do it with someone new, not someone from the team. That definitely has a clear interest in this.
That was going to be my final question I was going to ask is, you've obviously had the alphas, and so you've gotten the feedback and the kind of communication through those, but what was it like having it at Gamescom and actually being in the room with the people playing it and getting that feedback and seeing that excitement essentially live?
For me,
I would say it was exciting, but to be fair, having the closed alphas before helped. It helped because we had put the game into the hands of people. We knew how the game behaved. We knew the bad parts as well. So it was incredibly, I don't want to say relaxing, but to just have the game that didn't really have technical issues. Like, we didn't have to stay behind people and tell them, no, don't click that button, it's gonna crash. There's that. So having something that pretty much like we could tell people, like, hey, just try it out on your own, and if you have questions, just ask us. And most of the time people didn't have questions and had a hard time leaving their chairs. It was great for us.
I had to physically kick people out of the room, which was heartbreaking, but at the same time you're like, okay, they don't want to stop playing the game, so I guess at the very least we're on the right track. Now it's just a matter of making a good game and a fun game, which is the hardest part, of course. But
we definitely have things more to do. But yeah, I mean, the experience at Gamescom itself was great.
It's always a really easy question to ask, because I think people always think that the answer is going to be exactly the same. So it's like, that's a silly question to ask. But I always love that you get some devs who are like, no, we were excited as hell to be showing off, and you get some who are like, like the nerves right up until like that opening moment just had us. So I think it's really wonderful that your answer was just, I was zen because they were playing a build that I didn't have to stand over their shoulder. I think that's a wonderful answer.
Yes, and I mean, we've all been there. I've been in the industry for a while now. I've been there when, I had to like download the build a day before Gamescom, physically bring it with a flash drive, download it over hotel Wi-Fi and all of that. And to be honest, like the last 2 years, this applies to this Gamescom and the Gamescom before. Although at the Gamescom before we just had some gameplay footage, but no actual demo.
Yeah.
But at this Gamescom, like everything was ready a week before. Everything was pre-tested, ready to go. So
Locked in.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just hope the production continues like that, and we go like even the early access is going to be ready a month in advance, and we're just going to sit back, wait for
that is our plan. That is our plan. Yeah.
No, I mean this opens up an entire topic about sustainable development as well, right? Like you need to make sure that we're not killing ourselves making games. But yeah.
Excellent. Thank you so much.